three in front of you guys in the top right side of the map. He's orange, he's Terran, he plays for Samsung Galaxy. It's Journey.
In the bottom left, as the blue Zerg, it's TCM Soulkey.
So speaking of Samsung Galaxy, where has our good buddy Solar been? He has signed up for every cup in the last 2 weeks and never shown up for a single one of them. And it's breaking my heart, Zombie Grub.
Taking a break? Sleeping? He just won a bunch of money.
Actually, yeah, probably.
Why do I need to play on weeklies?
I love watching Solar play, because not only was he the guy to grind it out, and if you remember, there was that time when he said he wanted more prize money than parting even. I don't know. I miss him, Zombie Grub. He was all our good Zerg friends end up leaving us for top tier events.
Well,
Who can
soon
blame
enough
him?
Soulkey will.
Well, Soulkey can go do his own thing as long as Bjorn never leaves us. Because Bjorn, I'm okay with the fact that he never plays offline events if it means that we get to see him all the time.
He's like overly attached girlfriend much?
Yeah, a little bit. More like huge crush on Terran much. Oh my god, his control is so good. Actually, so that's something. Actually, we'll save the topic for another time. He's not here in this game, and it will end up taking up too much time. So, Journey though is a player who we recently got to see in our TvT tournaments. Journey's TvT not looking too shabby, but I don't know. It wasn't good enough to keep up with a lot of the other players. I think Bunny was the one who ended up pushing him out of the round of 8. So lucky for him, he's playing versus Zerg this time. Unlucky for him, it's versus Soulkey.
Yeah, and Soulkey, while he has lost to Bjorn on multiple occasions, as they seem to be the two that are always going head-to-head in the Olimoleague, is still a very good Zerg player versus Terran. It's just that Bjorn is better. He's stupidly good. So Journey has a pretty tough best of 3 ahead of him.
Well, actually, so Soulkey, speaking of this matchup, right? It's versus Beyond that we see him lose to those weird timings where, like, you know, Ultralisk Cavern's on the way, and that's when the push hits. But a lot of the things that seem to kill him are not exactly like, oh my god, Terran player went Liberator, or oh my gosh, Terran player had Siege Tank drops. It's just a lot of control out of really good players, outclassing him in multiple drops and spreading. And on a map like Dusk Towers, it's actually, I think, a lot harder to do that. Your bases are a lot more connected, they're a lot more consolidated as a Zerg. You're not going to be so torn apart trying to defend all these locations.
Yeah, it's a nice map for sticking on 3, even 4 bases. Technically, the 5th one's not too hard to take either, as far as 5ths go on other maps. A Journey is going for a bit of aggression in the early game. We get Tech Lab, that's Barracks, so I guess it's going to be Banshee, which is just, it's coming back, and I'm glad that it is. It is the safest build that I feel, anyways, being comfortable with. The Banshee's just, they're not going to die the Ravager shots like Liberators are, and they're going to be effective against the Roaches, unlike what the Hellions are. And, the Hellions aren't necessarily bad, they just, you see Roaches and you panic a little bit.
Tempo is contributing to the fried chicken discussion in chat. Thank you, Stream Delay. And thank you, Tempo, for definitely not perpetrating a stereotype. By the way, Tempo, if you don't know, there's actually a guy coming up later, one of the Zelda hockey teams, captain name is Watermelon. I think you'll like him quite a bit.
Wow. Go in that direction.
Oh, I'm just saying, we saw him on stream. He's a fantastic player. Maybe Tempo will enjoy watching him play.
I'm pretty sure Tempo played against him.
Actually, you know what? I think that's correct. Or with him. I bet you
Either
he
one.
loved it.
I mean, Watermelon is pretty good. He's a pretty good player.
Mm-hmm. Unrelated to any of that, you know what I love? I love grape Kool-Aid so much, and I really wish I had some right now.
Grape what now?
Kool-Aid.
Grape Kool-Aid.
Yeah.
Oh. Yeah, that's good.
Some grape Kool-Aid while watching Watermelon play Zelda hockey, and maybe eating some fried chicken on the side. That sounds like a good Saturday.
Sure. Anywho, the Banshees are, of course, cloaked, but Soulkey anticipated this and at least has Spore Crawlers in the main base. Didn't quite have an Overseer ready, so not like 100% prepared. But close enough. This Banshee really not getting anything done and definitely cannot die after seeing those roaches. If it dies, And I guess there's a second Banshee, so it would be the end of the world. But if it dies, and Soulkey takes as an opportunity to run across the map with more roaches reinforcing, Journey might be in a little bit of trouble. He hasn't taken his third yet, so he'd have that ramp to cover him. But you don't want to lose a Banshee for no reason.
No, especially, well, it's not just you don't want to lose it for no reason, but we've talked a bit more about how Ravagers are becoming a lot more common, and with their lower health pool, Banshees just tear them to bits. So it's one thing that Banshees in the past are already good versus Roaches, it's that they're amazing versus Ravagers. Gets that last shot off? Starts falling back on this. Third base gets established by Journey while this goes on, and his production is finally starting to pick up a little bit. He's still got to add on some more reactors and tech labs where he wants them. I am actually really curious if he plans to go much into Marauders, though. We are seeing that trend a little bit, but we've also at the same time been seeing different players with different strokes go for Mass Marines to deal with Roaches and Ravagers instead. Obviously, we know it's not going to be Roaches and Ravagers, but everything Soulkey's seen so far kind of indicates it might just be. Or not Soulkey, pardon me, Journey has seen out of Soulkey.
Yeah.
Did he actually see
the
Spire? No.
A lot of Terrans are starting to get used to the idea of these multiple tech swaps, and not even tech swaps a lot of the time, but just mixing the two compositions. In the Heart of the Swarm, it was very much so like Roach into Muta, or occasionally Muta into Roach. Or it was Roach Hydra, or it was Ling Bling Muta. Like, those were all distinctive. In Legacy of the Void, you have a lot of people going for Roaches at first. Deals with Hellions fine, deals with the Liberators fine, and then going into Mutas and melee upgrades, but still sticking on Roach, because they're trying to get up to that Hive in the Ultras. It creates a very odd, what do I get in my own composition for the Terran?
This is such a sick push. There's no bailings for it, though, so I don't think this is going to be, amazing, but that had the potential to really catch Soulkey off guard. However, he was there, he was ready, and he did respond to that very well. Double Banshees on the left side, getting ready to pick off this hatchery. Going to probably need to be canceled. Although the Mutas are on the way, the Overseer is going to be a little bit later to the party, so yeah, just cancels it for safe measure. Yeah. By the way, updates on the bets while this go on. Pretty high-stake match at our hands. We got about 8,000 bets on Journey through Bartoufs. You want to take a guess at how many for Soulkey?
15,000.
19,000. So kind of close-ish. So a lot of fake money that means absolutely nothing riding on this matchup.
Nice. Hey, to some people, they really need those Partoufs, bro. Imagine if we had not only a timer, so you had to go 12 months until you get a Partouf coin, but at those 12 months you had to deposit 50,000 Partouf coins to us.
Oh,
to get your real life Partouf coin.
Exchange them. That could be a good way to keep inflation down, man. We do have an abundance of Partoufs for some people.
You don't have too many.
Well, actually, what we do need to do, in all seriousness, is get more giveaways going, though, so people have good reason to spend their Partoufs. I feel bad that we haven't had anything to give away in a long time, but hopefully with the new year, good stuff will come, and players will sign stuff for you guys to win. Tank in the middle of the map's going to help just a smidge. There's no speed yet on these banelings, so that tank's actually going to be incredibly helpful if that Widow Mine misses, but off of creep, this shouldn't be too bad for Journey. The second he gets on creep is when this gets kind of scary.
Those upgrades are going to finish a little ahead of Soulkey, and Soulkey is in this different mix of units. Once again, adding in mostly Ravagers, really not using Roaches at all. Ravagers can add a lot. I mean, they can get the medevacs if the mutas can't. They can take on the tanks if the control isn't good enough. And they can just simply buy time by throwing down a line of corrosive bios, which is probably their biggest benefit when they're trying to do what Soulkey is doing, which is go straight to Ultras. If Journey can't start, really pressuring soon, he will have to deal with quite a few Ultras with ground support, and he'll probably die.
Yeah, Ultras are that, I feel, trump card that gets played a lot. We have less than a handful of players who know how to deal with late game TvZ in the first place, and even fewer. I seriously mean 2 who have ever displayed any mechanics to actually reflect fighting those Ultras well. But Baneling's coming in to go for that break. Marines are spread pretty nicely, and they don't connect to much. Baneling speed was not done for this fight. So Soulkey going in a few seconds early really cost him a lot of his units. Giving him some positioning now. I can't say that this 4th base is that critical, but he doesn't have money to make a bunch of Ultras.
He could lose a 4th base, but keep the army alive and get the Ultras and be okay. But if he loses the 4th base and gives away half his army, for instance, then it's a little... It's a lot worse. So in this situation, you try and pick up 300 more minerals, and you get the 4th on the other side of the map. And your Ultra army is still going to be very, very fearsome as you got all those upgrades.
Well, Soulkey, not wanting to fight that army head on, decides to just go for a counterattack across the map. Depots do get raised, so the wall is up, and oh, that Widowmine shot kills a good chunk of the Lings, but now trapped. Soulkey can't really run away from this. He kind of has to take a fight. I mean, kiting Corrosive Biles is probably the best thing Soulkey could do in this instance, but even then, this is still an army that is going to struggle to fight head on.
Yeah, it's gonna get trapped here. The Ultras are on their way out, so at least this army is buying some time. It takes a couple of Marines out with them, but you don't want to lose your entire backup army for those Ultras. Like, Ultras themselves are good, especially since they'll be those good upgrades, but you do want, some Banelings and some Lings.
Right. I mean, you're going to need support, bottom line, when it comes to keeping those Ultras alive. They've got the damage, then they can tank for days, but if there's nothing to really shoot behind or over them, like, it's no good. Really stretching out the life of these units, though. And this is great, because he did buy a ton of time with those Corrosive Biles! Take out one of the medevacs for those tanks. I mean, this is a better trade for Soulkey. The way he's been losing these units has not been for free. One big head-on engagement. However...
Oh, leave. Oh, leave. Oh, God.
Yeah, don't drop into that, man. It's going to be bad. Like, really, these Ravagers are getting good Corrosive Bile shots. This hasn't been an amazing trade for either player, but Soulkey is making his units a lot more cost-effective than they could have otherwise been. Would have otherwise been.
Well, now Journey's the one that needs to buy some time to get, fourth base. First of all, I think his fourth base could have been a lot sooner, considering how long he's been chasing Soulkey's army. Like, that's been like a good minute to 2 minutes. He probably got a fourth as a planetary already. He's also starting to bank a lot of money, trying to once again chase. And this would not be bad if he had the time to, fill that supply and bank with ghosts and liberators.
Oh, no.
He doesn't have that time.
The Ultras just want to give you a hug, man. Journey, come back. Soulkey's...
He lost his fourth. He could have had a much better setup if he didn't get totally just, focused on chasing that one army.
Yeah, and the thing he ended up chasing was, at the end of it, 6 Ravagers just back in that corner buying so much time. Not worth it. If that was high-priority targets, okay, sure, but Ravagers in this late game are not high-priority targets. Now, we do have a mix of both Liberators and Ghosts and Widowmines on the way, so all kinds of things that are good versus Ultralists, but if he dedicates too much, he won't have anything to protect the Liberators from Mutalisks or Corruptors. He won't have anything to stop the Ultras from just running through those Ghosts. I mean, there's a lot of ways that this could go very badly for Journey, but he is getting a composition set. It's a matter of time and how much time he has to get that army going.
Wow, 2 Ultras left behind to protect his 5th base. Soulkey taking drops pretty seriously. Oh, part of the swarm, you could chase those things around and kill them eventually, but at least in the void's so much more difficult.
Remember they were gonna give Ultralisk Burrow Charge, man?
Yes, Heart of the Swarm beta.
I'm so glad that never went through with the way Ultras turned out now.
Well, if it had actually worked, they probably would never have gotten buffed in Legacy.
Maybe.
What the hell?
Awkward EMP is awkward. I'm not sure what he was trying to hit with that. So Liberators are going to do about 80 damage a shot, 85 damage a shot on the Ultras. That's not too bad, but the Corrosive Biles are picking off these Liberators one at a time. This is good control out of Soulkey.
Ghosts need to get their snipes in before they get touched, basically. They get touched and their snipes don't go off.
You touched me.
Yeah, exactly.
Alright, so we hear a couple snipes and some of the Ultras go down, but for the most part, yeah, just overrun by the swarm. Soulkey is going to take game number 1. Just